What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another edition of Axe Creation. And on this week's lesson, we're going to look at some tips to how to bring your drum beats to life. So, it's a little different this week. I'm sitting in front of my computer here, and the great folks at Joey Sturgis Tones sent me over a couple of their new kits, the Miles McPherson kits, and for Contact. And it's two different kits, studio kit, house kit, and I figured this would be a great opportunity to talk a little bit about how to bring your programmed drum beats to life, just to make them a little bit more musical. All right, so we are sitting here, we are in Logic, and I already have the house kit set up. All right, so those of you who don't know, this is a Contact player, and these kits work within Contact, and they are the Miles McPherson, who is Kelly Clarkson and Paramore. Okay, so we're gonna look at these two kits right here. Let's look at this drum beat I have right here. Okay, let's give it a listen. Let's get this off, get a little loop going on. All right, so I'm just gonna loop this and then we'll start talking about some stuff. Cool, there you go. Nothing too crazy, very simple beat here. Now we're not gonna get into how to write drums. This is more of just how to make them sound a little bit better. All right, so as you see right here, all of these notes, these are the notes I've programmed in, and they're all 127 midi, which is the max velocity, so you're gonna get the hardest hit sample that you can, okay? So, first tip, if you have a keyboard or a drum pad, I highly recommend performing at least your kick and your snare, so you can place those to your feel, all right? So they probably won't be exactly lined up on the beat. Okay, some of us don't have that luxury. Some of us are just going to have to click in MIDI notes with our mouse. So I'm going to assume that that's what we're doing here. All right, so you're going to input everything, and let's say that everything goes in at 127 right here. Okay, that's the highest one, and this is what you're going to look like. Okay, so the first thing we want to do after we have our beat worked out a little bit is to make it sound a little bit more musical. Okay, and you'll probably notice that if you program everything like here, like I am on the screen right now, and you play your guitar, your riff, your bass, whatever you're doing over it, you'll probably notice it doesn't really feel perfect or right onto your riff. All right, so you usually have to re-record your guitars to the beat that you just wrote out. All right, a lot of times I'll record a scratch track, program drums over it, and then re-record the guitars to the drums. That really helps lock everything together. Okay, so that's the first tip. Second tip I would give you is to experiment when you have a new kit or new drum samples, is to experiment with the velocity, just so you know the range of expression for your hits, especially your snare and your kick drum, right? So if I come over here to my snare, right, that's at 127. Let me take that down to about I'll take it down 10, 117. And hopefully you guys notice that the snare, it's obviously not being hit as hard, so the attack isn't as present. The high range is a little more softer on the attack, and that's only taking it down 10, from 127 to 117. All right, so I would go through and go check out all of them. What does it sound like at 110? What does it sound like at 100, 90, 80, 70? Just so you can get the expressive and dynamic range of your samples, so you're aware. Because the one thing you never want to do is leave everything at 127. Because first of all, no drummer plays where every hit is as loud and hard as possible. Okay? Secondly, it doesn't sound good. Right? Everything's at max hit and max velocity, and it just doesn't work. It's not musical at all. Alright, so that's the first thing we're going to do here. Let's take a look over here. I'm going to zoom this one. This is the same exact beat, and now you can see what I've done to it. Okay, we have a nice palette of different colors here, and all that's showing you is the different velocities between the two. Okay, so the beat is exactly the same. The only thing I did with these little light aqua blue, whatever color those are, teal hits right there, those are ghost notes. And they can be kind of where you want them to fall to kind of give a nice rolling sound, and they just add a lot more. All right, so let's just go over here and go. Cool. Now let's listen to what it sounds like. And all we did was we changed the velocities and we added some ghost notes. And there you go. Cool? It sounds a little bit more musical, all right? A little more depth, just a little bit. And I really didn't do much. I didn't align any beats. Everything is drawn in right on time. So now what I would do is I would go in and record my guitar, and then I might move or align certain hits to mimic my feel and phrasing, all right? And let's talk about that real fast, because I know a lot of you guys watch a lot of my lessons. This is very familiar. I write my drum beats very much like I write my guitar parts. So if I'll write a guitar riff and it's 4 measures long, well, most of the time I'm not going to repeat that riff all the way through. I'm going to add fills a couple times to create variation, and that usually happens on 2 and 4. And I program my drums to mimic my guitar, so that happens to come across a lot. And you can see here I have this 3/4, 7/4, 3/4, 5/4. Don't let that confuse you. It's essentially 4/4. I tend to phrase my guitars, not in 4/4, where I can feel like a 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3. I tend to do that a lot, so I do that. I write that out in Logic, so when I record my guitars, I know what's going on, and I'm in the right place, not trying to see 4 go across while I'm not really phrasing in 3 and 4. So my drum beat mimics that, and you can hear it. I have a different fill here, and this is the same as the first, and then this one is a more busy, more notes, more 16th notes, more hits going on. So let's just give that a listen. There you go. All right, so just adding some ghost notes, changing some velocities goes a long way to making your program beats sound a little bit better. Okay, experiment with velocities and re-record your guitars after you do it. All right, so let's check out the other kit, the studio kit. All right. So we have the second kit hooked up right here, and this is the studio kit. Right, you have the house kit, the studio kit, and the studio kit, according to Miles McPherson's little description, is a more heavier rock kit, and it definitely comes across. So the drum beat we're playing is a little more double bass, just a little more action. Think epic chorusy, you know, like a slow 4 feel. That's kind of what we're going for here. All right, so here's the main thing, the main riff again, and you can see, here we go. It's all red, unedited. This is just the basic beat. So let's get this looped up. Again, nothing too crazy, very straightforward. But again, we're just going over these tips on how to just bring them together. So that's what I want to bring to light, okay? So we've done, it's going to be the same exact thing. So now if I just click over here, there we go. And you can see the different colors and the velocities. I added some ghost notes here. Kind of space them out, and you just don't want to just keep rolling through them. I added, since now we have a more active double bass, you can see the different shades, the different velocities on the double bass, because again, your bass player is not going to go full velocity every single time. All right, I like to keep my cymbal hits harder to just stand out more, and then you can see the snare here. When I add in more hits, I've changed the velocities just up and down, you know, if you're doing like a ga on the snare, well, that last hit's probably going to be a little louder than the other ones, right? So you want to bring that out. That's the stuff you want to go for. All right, so the kit is laid out super simple: kick, snare, couple toms, couple overheads, and it sounds great right out of the box, which is why I like it. And again, these are all the default sounds. There's no extra plugins on these. I wanted to give you guys a fair representation of what these kits sound like, and I would definitely check out the Joey Sturgis channels, because I'm sure I'll end up some links down below or somewhere in this video, so you can check out a more in-depth demo of these drums. This was just more tips for programming. So let's just see how that one sounds now. And there you go. Right? So we go from a very sterile, loud, aggressive, maxed out velocities. We play with our velocities, we add some performance to it, we add some ghost notes to it. We can shift around the snare hits So whether you're a little behind or a little ahead of the beat, what's going on, and then retrack your guitars after you write all these out. And I would probably save all the velocity stuff and the extra hits probably until after, maybe, just to see how it all fit into the guitar. I would hate to spend so much time putting in all these ghost notes and extra hits, and then you play with your riff and then it just doesn't sound good. That would be a waste of time. So there you go, guys. So Joey Sturgis tones, the Joey Sturgis drum line. This is the Miles McPherson 2 kits, the studio kit and the house kit. Check out the description below. I'll set up some links for some other demos. All right, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed this, and if you guys want to see more of this, let me know. And as always, let me know what you come up with. So until then, I'll see you next time. Thanks a lot.